Makes ties the Big Ten sixth man of the year. And makes both of them.
Excellent.
Sarr setting that screen. Throwing it up. Sarr. Oh, Drew, you called it. No way. You gotta be kidding me.
Did that just really happen? Sarr? Is France really like that? I thought the French were our allies. Yeah, I mean, it's preseason. Who cares? To me, the most important thing that there's no overtime in preseason. That's the most important. What type of lunatic are you to request overtime in preseason? The same people who want overtime in preseason are the same people who want ketchup in their soup. I like ketchup. I love ketchup. But sometimes enough isn't enough. I want to move on with my life. Anyways, point is, the Wizards are officially back. Today was the first preseason game. We lost. It's okay. Who cares? It's preseason. You know, you got to take what you can from the games, but it was an interesting one, to say the least. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I would truly, truly appreciate it. So first things first, let's get down to business. The Wizards are back. This fucking channel's back. Shady's back. We're all back. Anyways, I can't freaking see. Fuck. Okay, I'm gonna do my best. So I want to start off first with the actual starting lineup, okay? Because that's the thing that intrigued me the most. Now, is this going to be the starting lineup of Game 1 of the season? Perhaps. I think this is possibly a good chance. The starting lineup was Bub Carrington at the 1, McCollum at the 2, Keyshawn George at the 3, Middleton at the 4, Sarr at the 5. I predicted Keyshawn will be the 4, and then Cam will start at the 3. In the midst of Bilal Coulibaly being out, as he continues to recover from his thumb ligament injury. But, 4 out of 5. But I have a strong feeling that this is probably going to be the starting lineup in Game 1. Sometimes coaches like to play with lineups throughout the preseason, but this is what it is. Let's start out with the positives. Alex Sarr only played the first half, and he's not injured. The French bag is fine. He was on a minutes restriction, so he only played the first half. In the first half, he had 12 points, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks, 1 steal, 4 out of 5, 1 out of 1 from the 3. A plus 17 in 17 minutes. But you want to know the thing that stood out to me? He had 1 3-point attempt and 4 free throw attempts. Things are changing. He looked much more, not much more, but obviously just Game 1 of preseason, but he looked more comfortable out there. You know what I mean? He was more, attacking the rim. He was more aggressive at that aspect. He wasn't chucking up threes like he was all of last year. He's playing more like a big. The mentality is hopefully sticking in there, But I like what I saw from Alex Sarr. I think Alex Sarr was impressive today. Sarr, we had just talked about him. Keyshawn George, man went 3 of 14 from the field, 1 of 7 from the 3-point land, 9 defensive rebounds, 4 blocks. I believe he had 1 steal that didn't count, so that's 5 stocks there. He didn't produce offensively as much. The shots weren't going in. He did have 3 assists, though. And I did see Keyshawn George, being a secondary ball handler, which is something I've been, clamoring for. But defensively, he was elite. He's locked in. Active hands, It's just offensively, just tonight, he was just off. 3 of 14. But the thing I like about Key is that even if he is 0 of 12, best believe he's going to go 0 of 17. He does not care. He's going to continue to chuck it up. His confidence doesn't take a hit. That's one thing I love about him. Once that shot starts falling in, with him already being elite on the defensive end, from the likes of it, offensively, we got a special two-way player with Keyshawn George. But anyways, Middleton did his thing, 4 of 4, 11 points. McCollum had 19 points, 7 of 14, 5 of 9 from the 3-point land. McCollum is just you saw his presence. When McCollum's on the floor, he's creating for himself, even creating for others, even though he had 2 assists. You can just see the offense is just much, much, much more better and smoother. He had a couple step back threes, fast break threes. Hey, man, I think McCollum's going to have I think this is going to be a type of game that he's going to have for us on the daily. 19 points, 7 of 14, Obviously, just played 25 minutes, but still, I think this is the McCollum that I expect to see this upcoming season. However, this is not the Bub Carrington that I expect to see. 4 points. He's 0 of 8 from the field, 0 of 5 from the three-point land. His only points came from free throws. Had 2 assists only. 1 rebound. A negative 34 plus minus. Let me repeat that again. A negative 30. Everybody in a starting lineup is a plus 13 or above. He's the only one that's a minus 34. Bub Carrington struggled mightily today, to say the least. I'm not mad. I'm not upset. I don't think this is something that's going to be a precursor of what's to come. But these are the type of games that we're going to see from Bub this year. The question is, how long of a leash does he have? I'd assume it's a pretty long leash considering that, Will Dawkins drafted him. You traded Denny Avdia, who looks like a freaking all-star, might be an all-star this year. How long of a leash does he have? Because he will have these games, numerous amounts of these games this upcoming year. I saw him struggling to get up. I saw him struggling to set up his players in their spots. I saw him struggling to, freaking drive to the right. Like, one thing about him is that he's 6'5". I'm like, dude, you're 6'5". Like, I understand your muscle frame's not there yet. You're only 20 years old, but still, man, come on, like, be more physical. If he's getting picked up from full court, he's cooked. He's cooked. You know what I mean? He picks up his dribble, he's cooked as well. It's also a big learning curve for him. It really is. Mostly playing off ball last year. Looks to be the primary ball handler this year. Somewhere in New Orleans, Jordan Poole is yelling, "It ain't easy, huh? It ain't easy." Jordan Poole is yelling that from freaking New Orleans right now. Because, we dogged on him in his first year. His second year, he improved. I'm not mad. I kind of expected this from Bub Carrington. I'm just like, you know what I mean? But, hopefully he bounces back tomorrow. We play the Knicks tomorrow. But one thing I want to note, Tristan Vucevic was the first big off the bench in the first half, which the first half is more indicative of what I feel like the 9-man rotation is going to look like, because it was a 9-man rotation. I'm just throwing that out there. The Vuce was the first big man. He was over Marvin Bagley, the first big man off the bench. He did score 9 points. His defense is still shaky. His pick and roll defense is still You know what I mean? 4 rebounds. Marvin Bagley did his thing. Cam Whitmore, 10 points. I saw him playing some, sticky defense. He had a nice block. With him, it's just effortless. Cam Whitmore looked impressive to me, even though he started off a big sluggish. Corey Kispert, 5 points, 2 of 8. 0 of 3 from the 3. We got to see him improve from that aspect if you want to trade him in a trade deadline. The rest. Will Riley. I like what I saw from Will Riley. He had 2 assists in 15 minutes, making the right plays, making the right reads. 4 points plus 12. He was 0 for 3 from the field, but still, man, 4 free throw attempts. We saw him make those 2 clutch free throws to almost win the game. I like what I saw from Riley. And then lastly, our boy, Trey Johnson. 3 of 9 from the field, 8 points, 7 rebounds. I saw him going after those defensive rebounds. He had 1 assist, but, there's a couple of assists the player didn't finish the play. One thing I also noticed about Trey Johnson, he was the first player off the bench. And I have here in my notes, Trey Johnson, I feel like it's going to start like this in the beginning of the season. See, I predicted Bub and CJ is going to be the starting backcourt. And then I got dogged on. It's okay, y'all can dog. I was trying to be realistic. But now, I was just like, dude, he's going to be the first guy off the bench, and lo and behold, what's happening here. He was the first guy off the bench, played 23 minutes tonight. My prediction is this. Bub, if he continues to struggle, and this goes on to not just the first week of the season, but the first month and a half. Because I saw Trey Johnson be subbed in, the first sub off the bench in the second half for Bub. And then they rolled with the CJ and Trey backcourt. If that's the case, and that's more efficient than it with a CJ and Bub backcourt, I feel like they may insert Trey to replace Bub and put CJ at the 1, Trey at the 2. I feel like that's what's going to happen. I don't know why I had this feeling, but I just had this feeling that's going to happen. Come Thanksgiving, I am predicting that Bub will be benched for Trey. And I'm not trying to say it's like, it's mostly negative on Bub. No, I still really like Bub. I still like his, future prospects here in DC. I think it's going to be a combination of both. Bub's going to be going through a learning curve. Trey's going to be impressing. You got to meet in the middle. That's my prediction. Jameer Watkins, I like what I saw from defense in a short amount of time he played with tonight. He notched a steal immediately after checking in for the Wizards and followed up with a solid board and bucket. Unfortunately, he's not going to play that much this year. Maybe the second half of the season. Yeah, man, I just have in my notes. The offense just looks much more smoother and better when CJ is the primary ball handler. And, Trey just got better as the game went along. So, in all honesty, this was what I expected, to be honest with you. We're not going to win a lot. We're going to win 20 plus, maybe 20. I predicted 23. There were some nice signs. My main question to me is this. Champagnie didn't play. What's going to happen when Bilal Coulibaly comes back? Who's going to be taking out the lineup or the rotation? Is it going to be Cam Whitmore? And then people are going to be, rioting for Cam. This is like the whole thing about, Corey Kispert, why I wanted to trade him. But it is what it is. Y'all let me know. That's one thing I have right now in my head. We kind of see have a good. Right now, it looks like the 9-man rotation is this: Bub, CJ, George, Middleton, and Sarr starting, and off the bench is Trey, Corey, Vooch, and Cam. But then when Bilal calls back, like, what's going to happen? You know what I mean? So it is what it is. We'll see. I also saw Trey Johnson get some backup point guard minutes. I love that. We all know, like, one part of Trey Johnson's game that was not, seen at Texas, even though he has it in his bag, is his passing ability. Could perhaps Trey be our future? No, he's not our future one. Trey's a lockdown future two. But I think he's obviously going to have, I feel like he's going to be kind of like a Devin Booker. Devin Booker's a guy who gets you 6 assists per game. This is why I like that Devin Booker Trey Johnson comparison, even though it's pretty lofty. It is, but it is what it is. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I do want to end on this note. I did not pay for Monumental Sports. Proudly. I didn't want to spend $20 to see two French brothers go at it. I didn't want to spend that money. But I did watch it for free on Meth Streams. So, I'm going to put it right here. It was Meth Streams. It worked. Buff Streams is not working. It was down. So I had to switch up. But Meth Streams, it worked like a charm. It actually didn't work like a charm. I'm lying. It was pretty laggy. So was the Wizards point guard play. That was laggy too. But it is what it is. Y'all let me know what y'all think. Who impressed y'all tonight? I was impressed with our rookies. I was impressed with the Vooch. I liked Vooch, how he played today. But, yeah, man. Take care, everybody. Like and subscribe. I truly appreciate it. Peace, y'all.